I am Dan Lawrence, and we're talking to Matt Baird after his solo acoustic concert at a church here in Somerset, PA. And what we heard tonight is something that's very different from a regular spoken concert, which, as I know, is pretty heavy Christian rock stuff. Uh, is this kind of like therapy for you when you get to do an acoustic concert like this?
Therapy. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I like being able to tell stories. I like being able to kind of joke around a little more than I do at a spoken show. Normally at a spoken show, I'm like entertained by what's going on in the crowd or by what some band member is doing on stage, if they're being goofy or whatever. But I really enjoy the slower pace of acoustic sets, stories from growing up. I mean, stories that of people that I meet when I'm on the road as an acoustic artist or with spoken. Just some people, it's crazy. Some of the things they, can say and some of the encouragement that people can offer. I don't know if I've ever looked at it as is it therapy, but sure, I love doing it. And if people enjoy going to therapy, yeah, okay.
Okay. Do you enjoy the more personal part of an acoustic concert like this too?
Um, yeah, I would much rather be on a stage, in front of 40 or 50 people doing acoustic than spoken. But yet we've done 1,000 or 1,500 shows for 1,500 people, full band, fully lit room because there's no lights, small PA system or whatever. So I'm just grateful to be able to play music. I mean, sure, everyone has this. They hope that a show goes really well, or they hope that there's a lot of people. They hope that the crowd acts like they care that they're there. But in the end, we're all kind of just lucky to be able to play music at all. So I love both aspects.
Okay. Tell me a little bit how let's say 1 year of Matt Bear's life. How much of it is out on the road with spoken, and how much of it is doing something acoustic like he did tonight?
Well, I mean, currently, I would say probably 5 or 6 months out of the year is on the road with spoken, and the rest is acoustic. I I choose to be busy. Another, I have to be busy. Music is how I make a living, But it's something where it's like that's what I feel God has called me to do is use music to tell people that He loves them and has a plan for their life. So, I mean, in my mind, it's like if I go home and I'm not doing music for 2 weeks, like why do I deserve a 2 week vacation every month? You know what I mean? One, I can't afford to do that. But another is like, why wouldn't I be trying to take advantage of opportunities that, God lays out before me? I just really enjoy it. But for the past several years, in between every spoken tour, I'll do an acoustic tour. And so that's just, if there's a spoken tour that's happening, great. I'm still playing acoustic shows on those, tours because of days off. I fill it with an acoustic show. But I will do both for as long as I'm able. But each year kind of looks different, really.
So what it gets down to is, it seems to me that you consider the music to be your ministry, no matter what venue you're going to be bringing it to the people in.
Yeah, it was about probably 5 or 6 years ago. I realized something that I had all wrong for a lot of years. When people would be like, "Oh, spoken's your full-time ministry. That's so cool." I'm like, "Yep, for sure." And I meant it. I'm like, "Yeah, spoken's my full-time ministry." But the more and more I thought about it, it's like my whole life should be my ministry, not just whether I'm playing music or not. If I'm going to a gas station, I should be able to be kind to someone. You know what I mean? That's part of ministry, is being kind and showing them the love of Jesus. The same way I was doing trim carpentry for a while because some guy gave me a job doing trim carpentry over the winter. And so I did that. I enjoyed it, but I don't like using saws, worrying about my hands being cut off the whole time, But some of the guys I worked with, we would have conversations about Jesus all day long. We're working, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. But I don't believe in that whole thing of like keep, Jesus out of your workplace or keep Jesus out of anything. Like if Jesus is your life, how can you be out of it? And so my life is my ministry because my ministry to my family should be more important than anything musical. Spoken, is the priority when it comes to music ministry. But if there's not a spoken tour happening, I'm doing any kind of music I can, because I do the acoustic shows at bars, at churches, at schools, at people's houses. It doesn't matter. Like, it can fit anywhere. It can go anywhere.
Okay, I have two main questions left to ask you. You told the story tonight about the skateboarding and the acoustic guitar that your dad brought home.
Yeah.
Now, there was kind of a little bit missing as to, obviously you did pick that acoustic guitar back up. Can you kind of fill in that part there?
Yeah. Right after I became a Christian, so I became a Christian at 14. So about age 15, I got suckered into doing youth choir at church. Didn't really want to do it, but that's where all my friends were going to be. Well, I don't know if it was that, but they're like, oh, we need someone to do a solo on this Christmas cantata thing. And they're like, oh, Matt's going to do it. I'm like, I'm not doing it. And they made me do it. That was another thing where it's like, and I'll say this, one of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned in my life was when I was 15 years old in youth choir, where this guy named P.A.Church, he was an architect, and his wife was like a piano teacher. They decided they were going, however it worked out, they got suckered into doing youth choir at our church. And so P.A.Church and his wife were going to be the ones teaching youth choir. So you've got all of us there. You've got, 10 dudes who are just like, yeah, we're just here to hang out, and then probably 10 girls who could actually sing, right? And so we're there, and they wanted me to do this little solo section. It's like one line. And I was like, okay, Matt's going to do it. I'm like, I don't want it. It's like, all right, I'll do it. So I'm halfway through the line. He's like, wait. I can't understand what you're saying. Like, it kind of sounds like mush mouth. I need you to over-enunciate. You need to over-enunciate. I'm like, okay, all right. I was so embarrassed. I was like pretty frustrated with him, but I would never let him know that. And I was embarrassed because I was in front of all these kids that were in a youth group with me, and some of the kids that I skateboarded with. And so I'm like, over-enunciate. Okay. So he's like, all right, try it again. And so I did it, and he's like, yep, moving on. I think of that. I've been thinking about the whole time I've been speaking here. I think about it the whole time I'm on stage, when I'm in the recording studio recording Matt Baird songs, spoken songs, when I'm doing radio interviews, when I'm having any conversation on the phone. Over-enunciate. And so one of the most embarrassing moments of my life was one of the times where I'm like, it was one of the most valuable lessons, and I've used it every day in my life since then. And so it is one of those things where that kind of got me started in singing again 3 years later. And then we started this band that we would play a couple songs at a youth lock-in. We'd play the same songs over and over and over again. At that point, I was playing bass in the band. I wasn't singing, but we ended up kicking our singer out because he was stealing lyrics from real bands. And so they're like, well, we got this lock-in coming up. You've got to sing. I'm like, I'm not singing. So I did. That kind of started. But that was only the youth lock-in thing. But when I was 19 is when I felt like God was saying, start a band, do this the right way. Didn't know what that was. Still trying to figure out what the right way is. But that's when I got back into music, is basically 15. But I didn't do anything serious with it until I was 19.
So it was then when people would come up to you and say, dude, you can really sing well. We love your tenor.
I don't know. I don't know when that was. But it at some point, they're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I love it. And I'm like, great. Because the whole time, I'm always, like, I have lots of insecurities, like a lot about my life. And the whole time, no matter what, I'm wondering what, I'm sitting there being like, do they accept me by what they're seeing, or is it just the voice? Is it just me screaming my brains out, or singing high, or performing, or all over the stage when it shouldn't ever creep into my mind? Like, I'm the way God created me, and I should just worry about what am I talking about, at that moment, and that's what I want to do.
But does it give you at least a little bit of comfort when people come up to you after a concert, whether with spoken or one of the acoustic shows at night, and say, man, that really sounded so good? I mean, do you take that home with you and say, okay, yeah, I'm doing right by Christ?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like God gave me some sort of talent. I better use it the right way, or why wouldn't it be gone? And I think that's one of the things that so often we take so for granted. I know that tomorrow I could wake up and not be able to sing a lick. Not because of something I did or didn't do, or not that I didn't give it my all for 22 years of trying to make Jesus known by screaming my brains out. But maybe it's just time, and I hope that doesn't happen because I really enjoy it. And I love being able to use music. I love music. I'm always listening to music. But that's not the end all, be all, whatever role Jesus has me in, I want to do it well. And it could be to where it's like tomorrow my only ministry could be to my wife and kids. And if that's the case, by all means, I'm going to pour everything into it, and I'm going to do it right.
Okay, I got one more main question for you. I noticed, I was looking at the spoken tour itinerary coming up, and I noticed Germany. How did that happen?
I think it started probably 12 years ago, maybe more. My timeline's awful, so someone on the other side of the world probably knows a lot better than I did my timeline. But we were told, like, hey, we've got this festival called Freakstock in Germany. They want you to come play. I'm like, wait, what? And we went, and it was amazing. And we've been back several times over the years. We've been over for multiple tours that were 3 weeks or more each time. We're going back over to Switzerland to play a festival in November. We'll play another show in Germany in November. And I would assume probably the spring or the summer of 2019 we'll do another tour. So.
Okay, if you're watching this from Germany, Switzerland, etc., make sure you go to see Spoken, because they'll be there this November. Matt, it's been a pleasure talking with you tonight, man. I gotta say, and I know I've already said it before, I was really impressed with your performance tonight. As an old person, it's a little more up my alley.
Yep. Thank you.
Keep on doing it, man. This is good stuff.
I'll
Praise God, man.
People always ask, they're like, how long are you going to do this? I'm like, do what? They're like, well, play music and tour and whatever. I was like, I hope I can play music until I'm dead. But honestly, like when he like yells at me loud enough, like, stop doing this, do this for me. Great. That's cool. But he hasn't done that yet. And Spoken has had every reason to quit over the years, probably time and time and time again, other than God saying, thank you, you're done, do something else. And so whenever he does that, I want to be obedient to him. And someday he will. Someday he'll be like, stop, please. But that's not now.
All right, that's good. We're with Matt Baird in Somerset, Pennsylvania after his acoustic concert here. And I'm Dan Lawrence. Have a good day.